Hello, I hope all is progressing well. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Today, we're going to top off the show with a very important discussion, not just because it's International Women's etc. month, because it is important as individuals that are looking to work, whether that be for a short or long term, concerning wages. The discussion revolves around wages in schools. Yes, the wage gap is different between genders, men and women, regardless of ethnicity. So, what does one do when not all parameters might be clear as to why the wages are completely different in different areas of the academic system at large between genders? Of course, this conversation translates into other facets of society. Though concerning academia, I wonder if other biological, social factors might be at play. I think each situation will vary per locality, whether that be town, city, state. I'm thinking each budget has to come from an understanding of what a school necessitates to function. When I read the article, then think of professionals in academia at large, I wonder what other accreditations might be coming into play when discussions of wages come into play. Because what if one person, not saying this is at large though, what if a particular strain of individuals working in academia have certain accreditations and are all receiving a certain wage, a certain salary, while the majority of that group might be particularly up on gender? I don't know. Hence the reason why I consider these situations so carefully and delicately. Because in a profession like teaching, there are many requirements, tests. I have no ideas what fill the interviews, because there can be so many ideas that fill the interview, coming from accreditations, coming from just how interview savvy a person might be, considering relationships, external to internal. I'm always wondering what other factors come from budgeting, because I feel as though when considering line items, when considering employees, individuals that operate these budgets have an understanding. And I think this conversation is only a part of many conversations, even for individuals beyond the gender space, where positionship might encounter seniority, encountering skill sets. We're looking at a myriad of factors, not excluding encountering networks. So, with an understanding of so many factors concerning wages, in the light of educator wages, I have many questions, as I'm sure many might. All resolve from me comes from analyzing the budget, operating with clear financial payouts that individuals can see, transparency for each accreditation, if a factor, considering experience per year that is surface in terms of depth, a different level of transparent though set amount. When regarding what one might encounter with a budget, with layers, I think handling equality concerning wages becomes much easier for people to navigate. Even if other factors like a score on a particular exam come into play, which might increase wages by $50 here, $20 here. Now, there may be many answers as systems continue to change. Of course, I think everyone can agree that one must not only make a living wage, but a living and savings wage, which might be a touch on another branch of conversations. Now, the next topic is somewhat lighter. We're going to take a momentary break because I want to remind everyone that Pieters, the forum of Pieters, works in tandem with I Don't Know. We can talk about it. So here we are, talking and thinking about a variety of topics. So please, if you don't already know, here's a way to get to the forum of Pieters.
Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It intermission point for www.pieters.com. Welcome to Pieters, where expression, the choice to express in the public sphere, is to bear in the wild your choice responsibilities, where beyond anyone and anywhere else you will encounter yourself. Aside from Pieters, music, books I've read, publications, merchandise, and of course the About page, the forum of Pieters works in tandem with I Don't Know. We can talk about it. So I encourage you to stay up to date via the YouTube channel, the podcast, or use the forums to be an active participant in future discussions or other discussions. I hope we can continue to grow together, onward and upward. Kevin Dufresne.
Welcome back to I Don't Know. We can talk about it. My name is Kevin Dufresne. The next topic to consider comes from an article about friends wanting to hear from friends. Perhaps without other friends knowing that another friend might want to hear from the other friend. I wonder how the friend that has a friend wanting that friend to reach out might feel. two friends wanting someone to reach out, though neither reaching out? What does this mean for the friendship? Phone calls, video chats, plethora of communicative forms. We have so many mediums of communication, and becoming more social is wonderful, I think, especially in person. Though bonding through mediums in a safe way, in a socially understandable form, is really, really important and unique to traditional forms of communication. So I think the fact that we have so many forms of technology to use can be a way for people to find a new level of comfort, because my understanding is the more mediums we have on the table, the more attention will spread naturally, though at a point there's an equilibrium of people deciding, okay, well, these are the decisions we have. Here's what I like, whether that be texting, video chatting, on a phone call, on a cell phone or a landline, writing letters. However the communicative form is, I think being aware of how one likes to communicate is a conversation to be on the table between friends, between individuals starting relationships. I know some people can send a text here and a text there, and it's all right. Some people can have a phone call here, a phone call there, it's all right. Some people want a little bit more, some people want a little bit less of one particular form, and that's all right as long as they're mutually, consensually agreeing. I think a balance does develop in time. I think some relationships require a little bit more leading, coming from a landline sense, connecting on the wall, through the line, going to the other lines. I'm like, wow, talking on the phone is wonderful. It's very, very fun. And I find less ghosting, at least when growing up, happens, though perhaps that might be just a factor of individuals being much closer in proximity. So a more natural social development of communication comes about because of not being able to avoid each other, having to encounter each other civilly, in person, in some regard, whether through each other or family, etc., which I think perhaps we're coming back to more so, though I don't think it ever leaves the traditional senses of communication. I don't think it ever leaves. I think it's pretty cool, building good relationships. So of course, I always encourage building good communication habits. Stay social, stay healthy, and stay mindful. Protect your energy. All right, we're gonna be doing an origami exercise because we just talked about a few interesting topics. And the reality is, I'm gonna get a little bit of help here making this, okay? So I'm going to take the technology and prep it. So first thing first, I have instructions here to fold down the paper. So I'm gonna fold it down. I'm gonna make this square, corner to corner, into a triangle, okay? This is very important. So right here, you can see I do the multi-fold. It's just a two-fold, but I like to go corner to corner each time. You don't have to do it for this one. This one actually just says you do the one fold down, we get our triangle from the square, so one corner to corner, and we go corner to corner again, but we're just splitting the
other triangle in half. So we're just gonna make it smaller. So then we're gonna basically, after doing that, we're going to, boom, boom, open up our, we're gonna open up our fold, okay? So, taking one fold in to the inside. Alright, we're gonna take one fold in to the inside. And we're gonna take another fold in here to the inside. Clear my throat. So now we have right here, this fold here. So then we're gonna take this next one. So we have to turn it around now, right? And we're just gonna take we're gonna fold it back here. So now we're folding it all into the line, the central line. So that first line we did a double fold so we can find a defining line, which you can find a defining line by simply doing the corner to corner both sides at the beginning. Though you have here the fold from the big triangle, and then we're just gonna turn it around. We're just gonna fold it again. So then you're gonna see that we're gonna have a nice meeting here, right in the middle. All right, so we're getting closer to our frog. So next, we're gonna just fold up, okay? So we're gonna fold up to the bottom edge. So this bottom edge of this triangle, right? So when they meet here, it's at that point, just gonna fold up. So you're gonna see it folding up from here. So you're gonna see it folding up from there, and it folds up right here. So now you have this fold. We just folded it up right here. Boom, okay? Next, there's gonna be another fold, but it's gonna be more like from the back. So there's this fold forward, then there's gonna be a fold in the back here, and then of course you can do the other fold coming up here. All right. Okay. So now, what we have here, we're gonna have like a triple fold here. So I'm gonna have to give some super bounce. I want to make sure it really actually bounces. And so what's cool here when you have this triple fold, so you can see, if you can see it, it's like, see this right here? As the article mentions, it's like an accordion. All right, we have a little slinky form here. We're gonna get a slinky motion. We're gonna get a frog bounce from this. So the next thing is, of course, we're gonna make our fold here. Now, in this design, it's saying we can fold it to make frog legs. So I'm just gonna fold the frog legs down like this. And as you can see, I fold it in and down right here, and down. And you can fold it like either way, outward or in. I think you're just gonna get more bounce. And I give like the tongue a little bit of a flip, you know, give it a little bit of a flip, give it a little bit of flair. And of course, as you can see, we have our frog here, and what? Did you see that bounce? Did you see that bounce? This is why I like the frog is very fun to play with, and you get a nice bounce, you give it more of an accordion. You don't always need that much of an accordion fold, but as you can see, it helps. So, and you get a nice little bounce, fairly consistent, all in the flick. All right, so this week I see two films. The first film I see is, drum roll, please. Ding. Thanks for being patient. Some technical situations with the drummer doing a phenomenal job. I have to double check in about those two movies afterward. So amazing, so spectacular, that drummer. So, Operation Fortune and 65 are the two films I watched recently. And Operation Fortune is funny, very funny, light, somewhat of a James Bond type film, definitely worth paying for to watch
in theater on a big screen. I think the acting partners do a phenomenal job. The film is very entertaining, and I find that the story grows more compelling as an action comedy. So every scene builds toward the end, which is a wonderful, wonderful, fun ending with a lot of moral developments. We have a roundabout way of learning that one can do more with one's money than bring war and death and famine. And we're looking at a form of global peace and understanding and joy. In the end of the film, it's somewhat of a celebration of cinema and the beauty of not only the creative spirit, though creativity at large, and the possibilities of course, a good story, a celebration of good acting partners, and entertainment. The interestingly enough, next film is 65, which I don't really want to relate to a film like Jurassic Park because they're so drastically different. The film makes me think of a lot of different Jurassic type films with dinosaurs and video games and like Turok. I figure the film is about a video game and I'm watching the trailer, then I find out it's really not. It's somewhat of a touching story of separation of family, rejoining a family, the importance of family, the importance of unity across families in relation to an ever-changing world where there are so many harms that may be bigger than us, that humans need each other to stay together, and adult-child relationship is very important. It's very important to acknowledge a child's intellectual abilities, as well as to know that communication is very, very important. And there are ways of communicating, regardless of what circumstances might seem like. And making time to communicate and understand each other and do the work can be very helpful toward navigating toward where individuals are seeking to go. The film brings much to the table to discuss concerning family. I think the acting partners fulfill the film well. I do think the film is worth seeing in theaters because of the effects on the screen when discussing dinosaurs visually. I feel like 65 and other films of this sort bringing dinosaurs to the table really make sense on the big screen. Now, we're going to be coming on to a topic that you all know I enjoy very much. Reading. So we're going to be covering a book today. I'm going to be talking about... Wait a minute, do you hear that trumpet player? My goodness, that trumpet player starts blowing and just starts blowing me away. David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, a book that many people recommend me, is really a wonderful read. I really enjoy the text, and I feel as though David Goggins really does touch a lot of individuals. I'm meeting people at the gym, in Starbucks. I'm literally just walking into conversations with individuals, and Can't Hurt Me is literally the book that individuals refer to me the most. And that is very interesting to me. Even after reading the text, I run into someone that refers David Goggins' text to me. So this gentleman comes from a tough background, family, has familial situations, father-son relations, even parental and general son relations growing up just in an adult world in a capitalistic sense. David Goggins really is trying to encourage practically individuals toward being not only mentally tough, though being mentally sound, mentally aware, while proceeding how one must to fortify one's mind, to become the best version, the most capable for a situation. And David Goggins sets challenges at the end of each chapter for individuals to partake in, to accept, to reuse over and over again when building toward becoming more mentally sound, tough, and just overall closer to one's goals. The book is somewhat of a self-help motivational book, though definitely a piece from David Goggins that is touching to many degrees. It is very interesting to read. I like the writing style, like the man is talking, and I think it's really cool the translations between text and real life for individuals that share David Goggins with me, and they're like, man, this guy is so motivational, and David Goggins gets me going, and I'm like, all right, that's good. And of course, I think what's awesome is the awareness that individuals start to have of self that I've come across that they can do. And at the same time, I feel as though individuals can always continue growing more beyond what David Goggins is encouraging, challenging, sharing, and really teaching toward, which is this unfathomable mystery of one's own life. One must embrace one's life. So I like the text, and of course, I don't know. We can talk about it. And I'm glad to have another episode for you all. Please remember to use the forums. Leave a comment. Be in the conversation. Share anything you feel might be something to discuss at the table. On that note, onward and upward, Kevin Different.